off in a minute. Okay guys, welcome back. I've laid up the port wing and it's looking pretty good. So I've left the leading edge extended out because I want to try and join them inside the fuselage. I've also been discussing the build with Nick, Baron Flights, via text messages, exactly how I'm going to be reinforcing the wing, because there doesn't seem to be anyway, there isn't a dihedral brace as such, which is a bit sort of worrying in a way. This will mount on the side of the fuselage, and if I continue, I've extended the leading edges, if I continue those inside the wings, they can join. I'm not going to have 2 1/8 dihedral, I'm going to drop it down to about an inch, 30 mils, something like that, and these just sort of key into the side of the fuselage, so there's not a lot of strength there. So I'd like to add a dihedral brace of some sort, but exactly what sort, if I can't make anything too chunky because it's going to inhibit the airflow a bit, I might be able to put in a piece of carbon, just a simple rod going through into some of the ribs. They'll have to be set at an angle, higher and then lower. So I've got to think about that. I've sanded this wing a bit. I've also added a little a balsa tip on top of W7, which just goes on the wingtip. But I didn't like that, so I've just put this very lightweight balsa sliver on there just to make the wingtip a little bit stronger and makes it easier to finish. I've also made up a couple of nose blocks, again pretty light balsa. I'll just use 3 laminations of 1/4 inch because I haven't got anything thicker to work with, and I'll sand that down. I'll sand it down on the model. I'll just spot glue them in place. Although this side I just had an idea actually. I was going to say I might glue in place, but if I'm going to put the battery, I was going to make this half removable so as I could slide the battery in. I'm just wondering if I ought to make the whole nose removable. I think I can get the battery because I'm using the 2S battery. Oh, there's room. There's room to slide it on in there. I'll open it up slightly, but it will go. Yeah, I'll probably stick to plan A actually. Put that on there, and then I can just shape it round. The fuselage hasn't been sanded at all. The other thing I want to do is to scallop in between like that. Scallop it. Yeah, the fuselage is going to look a little bit square. Oh, the other thing I tell you, I'm not sure. I'm thinking it might be advantageous to have a small push-in hook in the front just to catapult it away. Might be needed. Might be preferable actually, because then you're not gripping the fuselage. So I'll set a small tube into the center former, and then I can just slide in a piece of piano wire to act as a small hook just to catapult it away. And if nothing else, I can catapult it and have a bit of fun. And at the end of the day, if this really doesn't work, then I can slope saw it, and that will work. Which will look real. PSS, power scale sawing, could slope saw it anyway. Anyway, let's get back onto the build. I mean, there's your wing, goes in like that. Goes back there somewhere, and that goes in there. So I'm wondering if I should just cut a square out there, because I think that leading edge just goes on the rests on the showing there a bit, that point A, 3/16 square either side of F1. I think it would be better if it, well, it's going to go right through because that's why I've extended the leading edge, so it can meet up inside the fuselage and go in front of this former here. So F5, F4, slide in front of F4. Let's go back to the aeroplane. 2, 3, 4. So that goes in just, the wing's going to sit on top of that. So probably a 3/16 hole there. I'm going to chance it and take a 3/16 square out of this corner, which is there and there, although of course it's going to be shaped. And the main spar, I was thinking, well, I've got a stringer right in the way there. I think I'm going to add a piece of strength inside the wing, so therefore I can cut this stringer down, I think, because it's inhibiting my build. I might just cover this centre section with one 30-second balsa. Put the rubber band on there just to hold it in place a bit, so that will slide in there, and then that will go at the back there. Well, we're getting there, guys. It's just a matter of seeing where it fits, where it doesn't fit, and how it all goes in. I need to take off a little bit of wood on the inside of that, or I could just shape the front of the leading edge back a little bit. Might actually be better. Trying to allow for a little bit of dihedral as well. Putting a slight angle on it. Just taking off a small amount at a time just to ease it in there. I'm not going crazy because I want it to try and be sort of a touch-in fit if I can. It's now so close. So a little bit more. And I can do the other side. Let me keep playing with this, guys. When I've got the other side done, I'll come back to you. Do you know what I think? I think I'm going to glue this side rib, should we call it, onto the parts of the wing, and then they'll just fit in there a treat, and then I can tissue it and then just glue that straight on. Yeah, that's good. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some more 1/16 hard, although I think, yeah, this isn't from the hard sheet. I'll cut another couple of strips of 1/16 hard and fit those that go in there, and I'll also add another slot there, I think. Just wonder if it's worth going all the way to the tip for the extra weight compared to the extra strength. Might be worth doing that. Let's pause there a minute, guys, and I'll come back to you when I've got those spars in. We'll have another look. I'm toying with somehow getting in a piece of carbon, possibly go into this rib each side. It could go right behind this bulkhead, and it wouldn't impede the airflow very much. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I'd like to give the wing a bit more strength, and once these are in and cut, then I can look at ailerons and sanding it all up. I have actually sanded the starboard wing, but I'm not going to shape these parts at all until I've they go there like that, until I've got it all glued in. The beauty of using the blocks, by the way, is you can just move them up until it's just touching the leading edge of the picture, and then you can put the wing in and out with impunity. Don't need that one. You just take the wing in and out, and when I glue it in or fit it, try or fit it, whatever I'm doing, I can just put it in like that, and I just have that there just to push it forward into that position. So easy once I've set it up. So these blocks, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 pairs. I could do with another pair just to go against the fuselage, but I've bodged it up with these weights. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to fit these pieces. Right. Oops, the last piece goes in there and onto there. Okay. That will all round up very nicely. Guys, that'll do it for now. We'll let that dry and I'll see you later on. Cheers. Okay. Right. There we are. That's nice. Okay. One. I'll leave the blocks there a minute. And okay, don't need that now. Now I'm just going to look at extending the main spars. I've got, it's supposed to be a short one underneath which pegs into the fuselage, and that little notch if it lines up, and one on the top, again a short one which just pegs into, well, it doesn't peg into anything actually, it just sort of sits there, which isn't particularly clever, is it? If you're going to put a spar in it, may as well join to something. Let me slice up some more 1/16 and I'll be right back. Okay, so there we are. I'll drop that in with a bit of CA, I think, just to speed things along. Now I'll do the other wing. That looks better, doesn't it? I'll do the other wing. I don't think I'll need one underneath. I'll just stick with the short one, I think. And do the other wing. I'll give the air intakes a little bit of a sand, see what shape we can make of those. And then I'll come back to you. Then we'll have a look at the ailerons perhaps. And maybe start offering up the servos, start looking at ways of mounting them and all that good stuff. So I'll be back very soon. Here's a mock-up. I've just done a CG test, and it's right here on the trailing edge, which doesn't bode well, does it? The booms look really quite chunky, don't they? Quite heavy. Put a main spar in there. I'm just wondering if I should put maybe a bit of sheeting just on this centre section here, just to give that a bit of beefed up strength. And I think the CG, it's not actually showing on the plan, I don't think. I haven't noticed it. But looking at another plan on Outer Zone, the CG was on the main spar, which would make sense about there, about a third of the wing. But I love doing mock-ups. That's the elevator. Goes in there. Obviously it's a little bit shorter. There will be a problem if I cover the wings first. I might have to leave glue the wing on and leave these two panels underneath clear, so as I can glue in the main spar and then tissue those afterwards. So I'm quite pleased with what we've got so far. So let's just pull it apart here. There's this square area down, or triangular area down here. So the air is going to come in here, and a lot of it's, I suppose the air will just hit there and just cavitate around. It'll be getting sucked through here, drawn through. But I was wondering if I ought to put a little deflector in there anyway, just to pull it across. Little triangular piece or angled piece there, just to pull it across. So I've got a bit more working out to do here. I'm working on the wings, and I haven't given hatches any consideration yet. The wings are a project on their own, aren't they? So that's what I think I will do. work on the wings. Let's just get out some 1/32 again. I was thinking of going all the way up the leading edge, but I don't think that's needed. But I could put it on this centre section here. Give it a rough cut there. And with this stuff, you can just trim it with scissors very easily. And I'll put another bit on the back, just like that, on there. Then I can trim it all around. Okay, here we go. Just put a bit there to start, to hold that bit. Alrighty, let's trim that up, and that will be one done. That'll be good. Okay, there we go, guys. Doesn't that look better? Certainly does. So that will go in there, fit against there like that. Okie doke. I'll do the other one, guys, and then we'll come back and have another look. I'll just show you what I've been doing. I've got the centre section, let's put that up there. I've got the centre section covered, as you saw, but I've just added a lower main spar all the way up, and I've put these little swoopy bits on the inside to guide the air into the motor and not down the back of the dead area, so that's another little extra. So the wings are looking really quite sharp. Still haven't got around to cutting the ailerons or fitting the servos, but never mind. I'm just getting sidetracked on sanding the nose block to shape. Actually, I suppose I should really mark the bottom and saw them that way first. I should really. Let's do that. Let's get rid of that in a minute. As I've started on the top, protect these stringers because I don't want to sand into them. So if I protect them now, I haven't sanded the fuselage yet, so I can afford to go down, and when I get down to this masking tape, then I'll take it off and sand the fuselage as well. If I put that on there like that, it'll protect the stringers. Take that around there. Okay, that's crude. Now at the moment I've got the left hand side is just spot glued on because I want to be able to take it off to insert the battery, and that will be held on with magnets. That's the plan. Okay, so what I plan to do next is to pop this off and hollow it quite a bit so as I can get the battery up the front as much as possible. I'm just thinking about the top hatch, and I'm thinking let's not go too small here. Why not cut out this entire area, and why not? So on the strength of that, I printed out another one of these, or was it one of those? No, it was one of those, and one at the front. So if I cut out, say, across here, and leave this one in as the bottom rail, and cut right across the front. I know these ends are going to sort of spring out a little bit, but then I put in the ones I've made, tack glued them temporarily, so I should have done right at the beginning, but I didn't think it through, and pull them back in, and I should end up with some sort of hatch. Okay, that's those. And I've got to cut through here Now this is going to be interesting because I can't really get in there. I'm going to keep going here, guys, and I'll invite you back very soon. There we are. That's what I call a decent hatch. I did go down lower than I said because I wanted to make it a little bit wider, and I think I've succeeded. Let's offer up these pieces. This would form the back of the hatch. Right then, guys, here we go. Here's the hatch. It comes off. I'll probably put a magnet or two to hold it on, and yeah, I've given myself a little bit of leeway so as I can put some tissue around it, but I've got good access now to the inside, and yeah, quite pleased actually. It's taken me a while fiddling, so I put in this rear former, put in the front former, had to fiddle that one around a bit like you do, but yeah, quite pleased. Just hollowed out the nose cone. I'm thinking now that I might just, such a big hatch, I might just install the battery from the top and glue the nose on. It'd be stronger for it. But I've also thought, while I'm here, I may as well hollow out a bit of this side, because if I need to add some nose weight, the best place for it is right up in the nose. Now it gives me a decent amount of, goes all the way into the airlock, but I can also pack in some lead shot top and bottom, maybe. A little bit extra on the back here because it's end grain. Pop that on. I'm just sanding the booms. That feels quite light. It's 3.5 grams, not too bad. I know I suggested earlier on putting the elevator control rod down the inside of the boom, but I am still wondering if I can put it down in the middle of the boom. It can't go into the boom here because it sticks to the rib, but if I make a little slot here and a little slot down the end, I might be able to sort of have it coming out and put a bend in it, disappearing into the wing. And then this end maybe a slot, or no, it'd have to come out in front of here because that sits all the way up to there, so it'd have to come out this slot here, coming into an elevator on the far side. Where are we? Here we are. It'd have to come into the elevator sort of in this corner, and the trailing edge on this is quite stiff wood, so I'm thinking it would probably be okay just to be operated from one corner, and because there'd be say a 45-degree bend in there, and possibly the other end would have a little bit of give, and I could use it for adjustment as well just by bending it slightly. I'll put the servo somewhere like here. The control arm comes out quite close. Yeah, okay, so just to the bottom of the trailing edge somewhere. That won't work because the pin's in there, isn't it? That won't work, Cliff. can't come out there because it's full of balsa, unless I put a little cutout there, which could do, because then it keeps it under the tailplane, see, less noticeable. I'll do that. Keep going, keep going. Getting it in and bending it's going to be the fun part. Also, look, I've just realised, thinking the elevator's down here, but it's not, it's up there. That'll still, yeah, that'll still work, just bent up. Yeah, okay, stick to plan A. So we'll just give that slot a little clearing out. Okay, the push rod can travel in that little section there. Glue in, it'll stiffen that up quite a bit. That's right. Okay, I think we're getting there now, guys. So we'll use that push rod inside the boom. That's the plan. So that also tells us exactly where to put the elevator servo as well. So that's good. Booms, tailplane, elevator. Still got to hinge that, but I'll do that at the same time as the ailerons. Still got to put a magnet in there. So I've decided to do a free bay aileron, guys, not too deep and not too shallow. Do you know these little saws came out in the 1950s, 70 years ago? Amazing. Okay, now I've got to cut that. The cut inside of that rib there. And one on the end. I've just cut the aileron out, and first thing is to put in a piece of wood for it to hinge on. It's only 1/16. I might put a little extra bit just in a couple of places to pick up. I'm going to use the fishing line hinges. This isn't perfect, I'll sand it to contour afterwards. I'm just going to CA that in place. And to stop it sticking to my board, I've just put some sellotape on it. Just hold that there a second. Was half tempted to just make it the two outer bays, but then the servo is getting a little bit tight for that depth of rib, so I'd sooner go for a bigger aileron that moved less distance. Right, to get this to go in, I have to remove 1/8 of an inch, that is 2 1/16 here, off of here, and I'm going to do it just by eye. And I'm just going to go straight down and put a new blade in. Should go straight down. There we go. And just to make sure, I'll just give it a gentle rub on there. And then that one there. Very easy to get carried away with using the heavyweight materials, but these little aeroplanes, although it is going to fly fast, admittedly. Now this has got to be shorter because it has to fit in there, but so that will go in there like that. I've got to make 2 little ribs to go in each end. All I'll do is just put in some square 1/16. I have to come in slightly, so I could do that. I could just cut off about a 1/16. So I've got the tissue in there. Take that up. It's nothing worse than making the gap too small, and then you end up with, you know, binding control surface. I'd sooner see a little gap. There we go. We just sand those square. Now I just need to file, or I could file. Let's try cutting it a small slot just to take up the piece of rib I'm going to put in. Clean up the file on this end. Right. Fit against there now. It's in a little bit there, but I've got to allow for a gap in the aileron. So what I'll do, I'll just sand a little bit off this side as well to bring a gap in there. Right, 2 little ribs. I'll have to go that end. So all I've got to do is to sand this to this section now. And it's done. Okay, hinged. I've got just enough gap there to bring it back up level with the trailing edge, which is nice. I can give it more throw if I want to by just pulling the hinges out or sanding the leading edge a little bit more. If I pull the hinges out, then it means I've got to sand back the trailing edge slightly, but all this will be fine tuned. But there we are. I think that's a reasonably sized aileron actually. I think that'll work. Okay, so now I have to do exactly the same on the other wing, and we'll be away. The hinge, by the way, is what I've used on a lot of my models now, 1mm fishing line. It's called shock leader. I don't know what that is. I'm not a fisherman, but you just do this to it, get off all the shine, and it gives the CA something to bite, and then I'll just cut off the length I want. Notice I'm cutting it at an angle. If you cut it at 45 degrees, it does a clean cut. If you cut it flat, it sort of bulges out a bit and you can't thread it into a hole. But there you go, I've got 50 meters on there, so I think it's going to last me a little while. That wing, apart from now fitting the servo, is done. I'll do the same to the other wing. I don't like getting too far ahead because you forget what you've done, otherwise I do anyway. I'll put a little bit of wood in there for fitting the control horn, which will be cut out of plywood. Let's see what that wing weighs out of curiosity. aileron. It weighs 6.8 grams. Just to help me measure inside the ailerons. So I've got a little mark on here for 20 millimeters. So I just slide that on to the rib I want to do, and I just mark off where that little slot is. And on that one, 20 millimeters like that. And I know they're exactly the same then. Just want to share that with you very briefly. Both ailerons are done now. Quite pleased with those. And let's just sort of do an assembly. Next on the agenda is going to be fitting the servos. Let's just take the hatch off. Fitting the servos, elevator servo and aileron servo in the starboard wing, and aileron servo in the port wing. Okay, that goes on there. Have I got that little rubber band handy? Okay, we'll just pop on this little rubber band to keep things in place a little bit. Okay, it's looking very nice indeed, I must say. Booms, one goes on there. Not sure if I'll be able to get the tail plane, or I've got to hinge the elevator still, haven't I? Okay, well, I'll do that in a minute. And I want to sit the tail plane between, where's my fins? Here they are. That's the starboard fin, and goes in there. Won't be long before I can start thinking about covering. I'm going to tissue it. Whether I put doculum on the wings, I'm not sure. I may do, I may not. Be interesting to put it on the scale, won't it? Get a rough idea of the direction we're going in. I haven't got a cockpit sorted out yet. Now that's interesting. I might have to sand the wing angles a bit to keep the booms. Yeah, just to keep the booms up vertical a little bit. Anyway, let's just have a look at that. It's without the tail plane, but that's an elevator. That's okay. Let's put one of these underneath. I could do like John Coptonac puts little trestles under. I think it's you, John, isn't it? That look rather good. There we go. Yes. Looks nice with the ailerons. They look proportionally just right. So I'm pleased with those. Do you want a closer look? Let's bring you down a minute. I'll tell you what, let's just weigh it. I said we'll weigh it, didn't I? That's saying 49 grams, maybe 50. It's getting heavy. Battery is 10 grams exactly, 60 grams. The CG's on that middle spar. That's not too bad. By the time I got the radio gear in, that's quite gratifying to know. Okay, there we go. 50 grams, 60 grams with the battery. So she's coming on, guys, isn't she? Really pleased. I'll give you a close-up look as I talk, and this will be the end of part 2. Yes, I'm loving it. I'm just loving this vampire build. It's going to look superb with a little cockpit on the top, and get the servos in. Once the servos are in, I shall be able to tissue it and start to assemble it. So hasn't taken long really, has it, to get to this stage. Give the video a thumbs up, guys. Give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. A lot of you are enjoying it actually, which is brilliant. And this could start a trend of pulling these little jets apart when they get broken up, just in the same way as the UMX models. Foamies get broken up and, you know, the gear put into other bolster models. You could do the same with any of these foamy EDFs. You can buy 30mm, you can even buy 20mm EDFs. I've seen. You'll need really lightweight gear for those though. So I'm hoping that this motor combination will be powerful enough to propel this airframe through the air. We'll find out. Anyway, thanks for following along, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It makes a big difference. Cheers, guys. See you in part 3.